Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie. I live in Utah, zone 6/7, and I live in a cool weather climate. And I absolutely love to garden, as you can probably tell by the number of videos on my YouTube channel. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about how on my small quarter-acre urban plot, how I am able to grow almost all the food that I eat. And I accomplish that through succession gardening. Now, I've done quite a few videos on succession gardening, but I don't think I've ever done a video that goes month by month over which seeds I plant, what I transplant out into the garden, and what I harvest. So let's get started inside. This is the first week in February. Let's start inside and start in January and talk a little bit about the seeds that I plant in January, the seeds that I plant in February, what I'm harvesting, and talk a little bit about how you can grow a majority of the food that you eat on a small property using succession growing. So in here, this is where I start all my seeds. I start a lot of seeds because, like I said, I grow a lot of the food that I eat. We have several different systems that I use. This is my newest one. This is the Vigo garden system. We have a seed starting kit here, and we have several seeds that we started in January. Now in January, I start the seeds for my early spring crops. Right here, we've got some cabbage. These are just the extra ones that I put in here because I didn't want to throw them away. And we've got the rest of them over here. It's not just, and the seeds that I have here are not just the cole crops. We have cauliflower and kohlrabi. We also have onions and leeks. We have some celtis in the back and cabbages. The other plants that I start early in January are ones that are going to take a long time to grow to maturity. Plants that I really want to pot up into 1-gallon pots and grow as big as I can before I put them outside so they have time to ripen their fruit. Like the Peruvian ground cherry is one of them. I've got some stevia in another pot. And then back here we have some roselle. Now this will probably be the last year I try to grow roselle. Roselle seems to decide to start fruiting in September just before our first fall frost. And they're extremely frost sensitive, so it just doesn't work out really well. But I have grown them for about 5 years now, and I've had 2 of those 5 years where I've had a harvest, and the harvest was amazing. So it makes me still want to keep trying. But anyway, that is roselle in the back. Now I start these seeds in January. And the purpose of starting them in January is because I want to put these out in the garden, and it's usually the last week in January. I want to put my cole crops, these crops, out in the garden mid-March. So about 6 weeks before it's time to put them out, that's when I start the seeds. The onions are going to be put out around the same time, so I also start those early. Now I try with onions to avoid really deep freezes because that makes them bolt and go to flower, especially here in our area. They like to go out when it's still cooler and where they have enough time to fully develop, but they don't want to have deep freezes. Frosts are okay, deep freezes aren't. So these go out in March, they're started in January, and let's go show you the seeds that I'm going to be planting now that it's February. So now that it's February, I pulled out all the seeds that I'd like to plant out in the garden, just direct sow them. I love snap peas, and this is the time of year to put them out in the garden. Actually, I think I'll probably wait in another few days and put them out next Saturday, which will be the second Saturday in February. We've also got some turnips that I've really liked. These have been really excellent turnips. We're going to start some carrots. And here's some other carrots that we're going to start. Now by direct sowing my carrots, my peas, and my turnips, and sometimes even radishes, they will just sit in the ground and wait to come up until the temperature is perfect for them. The other thing that I do is I allow my lettuce and my cilantro and parsley to self-seed, and they sit in the ground until it's warm enough for them to germinate. Now the other thing that's helpful in sowing them this time of year is we usually get really wet springs, so I don't have to think about going out and watering them. Now this year has been an extremely dry winter. It's probably one of the driest we've ever had. Normally we get 25 inches of snow in our area, and so far we've had 0.20. That's less than an inch of snow in this area. And it's been exceptionally warm. As you can see, mid-February, when it is normally in the 30s or 40s. We've been in the 50s. I think we've even pushed the 60s. Yesterday and today we've been in the 60s. And the rest of this week we're not even going to hit freezing at night, I don't think. Doesn't look like it anyway. So even during our coldest years, direct sowing the vegetables that I talked about in February is the perfect time of year to do it. Now, hopefully we're going to get moisture. Otherwise, those seeds are just going to sit in the ground until they do get wet, or I'm going to have to think about going out and watering them. So let me show you where I go plant out the plants that I plant in March and talk about the seeds that I will be planting in March. Now this is where I have a lot of my garden beds. This is facing west. It also has some south exposure. This has been a perfect area to have a garden. Now, as you can see, we still have vegetables in these beds. These were planted last year, and we'll talk about that when we get to that month. But these will be harvested here shortly, and then I will have empty beds with covers over them. So in March, I'll be able to plant out the cole crops that I have in my grow room. So we'll be emptying out all these beds. Now for the carrots, turnips, and all of the rest of those, I've got to kind of choose which beds I want to use for those. And I've got to be very careful which winter crops I have up here and how I plan this garden, so I have room for the seeds that I want to put out. This bed has garlic in it that's already starting to come up. This is the time of year it usually comes up. Half of this bed has shallots in it, but the other half is empty. So we'll probably be able to put some turnips and carrots in here. This is where I normally put peas. And my self-seeded parsley is always up here. You can see the seeds over here. Actually, it looks like they've all pretty much dropped now. But these are the ones that I allowed to go to seed last year. Actually, here's some with seeds on it. Yeah, here's the seeds. So I just let these fall all over, and all of this is overwintered parsley. Now I will need to go through and thin this out. There's quite a bit of them. And leave the two biggest ones that are in the area where I want them and allow those to go to seed for next year. So I always have all the parsley I'll ever need. The same thing happens with my cilantro, my dill, and my lettuce. This entire area is full of dill and lettuce and cilantro seeds. So they'll just grow whenever they're ready and wherever they want to grow. If I don't want them here, then I will just thin them out. This is another one that I allow to self-sow, and it comes up in the fall and grows all winter. This is arugula. So arugula is very cold hardy. In all but the coldest of years, it just grows up here in this spot really happily. I'll choose one of them, allow it to go to seed, and sow my next year's crop. Now, if you do not like that kind of chaos gardening, you can collect the seeds and throw them down on the ground wherever you want them. Do that in the fall. These kind of crops seem to do really well if you throw them on the ground in the fall rather than in the spring. But I guess you could probably do it in the spring also. Just do it when it's colder and when you know you're going to be getting moisture. So like I said earlier, these beds are going to be harvested, and then we'll have room for all the spring crops that I want to put in March. Now these beds, on the other hand, they're at the bottom of my property, and it's been harder to grow early spring crops in these and overwinter crops in these because they're in an area where the cold air collects and ends up being too cold for my early spring crops. So I save these for my summer crops. We're going to put squash and tomatoes and peppers. Well, actually I do the peppers in pots up along that hillside up there. But squash and tomatoes and melons are going to go down here. Now let's talk about when I plant the seeds for my tomatoes and peppers. Right here, you can see I have tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers. We have more little starts down here, but these are not for my summer crops. These are for the crops to get me through until summer. Right over here, I have my ink spot tomato. These are micro dwarf tomatoes that grow in pots indoors. They do beautifully in pots indoors, and if I am on the schedule that I like to be on, I usually have these seeds started in September so I can be harvesting them all winter. But this year I was behind yet again, and I started these, I think it was December. This is the size they are in December. and they should start producing really soon. This micro dwarf tomato right here was started last September. I grew it indoors all winter, outdoors all summer, and then I took cuttings of it and brought it back indoors for the winter. So it was started from cuttings, and I got a really good head start. So I have tomatoes that I've been able to harvest to go with my lettuce over here. So I do have indoor harvests of lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers. And eventually I'll be getting some peppers too. Now I do not start my tomatoes and peppers that I'm going to plant outdoors in the summer until the end of March or the beginning of April. And the reason I do that is because if you start them too early, they grow huge indoors. You have to up-pot them several times, and they end up stressed, and they do not catch up with the small ones that you put out in the summer. Now our last fall frost date is usually around Mother's Day, and so that's when I plan on planting out my tomatoes and peppers. They do much better if you plant them out when the soil is warm. Now, every once in a while, I will put them under one of my hoop houses, throw some frost cloth over it, put some jugs of water out there and start them a little earlier. But the only thing that I can notice that has made any difference in doing that, if we end up with a really, really hot June, then the later planted tomatoes have not had time to set fruit before they start dropping their blossoms because it's gotten too hot. And then I have to wait until fall to get good crops of tomatoes. And the earlier planted ones have already flowered, set fruit, and they hold on to that fruit. Otherwise, there is no difference. If we have a cooler June, then they all end up fruiting about the same time. So my tomatoes and peppers are the only seeds that I start in March, and the only seeds pretty much that I start in April. Now, when it comes to squash, I like to direct sow those outdoors. They seem to do a lot better, and I don't direct sow those outdoors until it's warm enough for them to sprout, and that's usually in mid-May. Now, every once in a while, I will decide to start them 2 weeks before I want them planted out, but I don't like to start them any further than 2 weeks. I like them to have maybe the start of their first leaf before I put them outside. I don't like to have them grow in pots for very long because they don't do very well. My melons, I always direct sow. I've tried starting those in pots and they never do very well. They really do like to be direct sown outside. And they grow very, very quickly if the soil temperature is correct. So in May, the only seeds that I start are possibly the melons and possibly the squash if I'm going to be doing those. And I don't really direct sow anything outdoors after that. Everything usually is done being direct sowed, and all my seeds starting by the beginning of April. Now, once we get into June, we do a lot of harvesting, and that's the point where I do need to wait until we start getting more bed space. In June, I harvest my March sown cole crops like the cauliflower, cabbage, and kohlrabi. I also harvest my garlic, shallots, and then in July, I harvest my onions, and that opens up bed space up on the top area over there, and that's when I put in the cucumbers. Now, my cucumbers, I do direct sow them, but I have to put cups over the top of them because by the time July has come around, we have cute baby quail, and their favorite food in the entire world is brand new baby cucumbers. So I do not get any cucumbers to grow unless I cover them with a cup or something like that. So that's what you see in this picture, is those are being protected from quail, and all of those were direct sown. Now, I do start seeds again in July. So in July, I end up planting another round of cole crops. Those are for my fall harvest. And I start those indoors and pot them up until they're quite large, and I put those out in the garden at the end of August. I also sow another round of carrots. Those are for the fall crops, and sometimes they'll winter over. And, I've tried peas, but peas don't work as well. I will start spinach around that time of year too, so that I can put those out. And if it's too hot when it's time to put those out in August, I will put shade cloth over my hoop houses, and that helps out a lot. Now, that should round out the season, but I go a little bit further. At the end of August, I start more seeds. I start more cabbage, more kohlrabi, and this time I add collards and spinach, and I think, let me see if there's anything else. Oh, some chard and some kale. And those I end up putting out in my beds at the end of October. And let me go show you what those look like right now this time of year. So these are my cabbages and spinach that I started in October. This is February. And they've been just slowly limping along because it's been too cold and there hasn't been enough sunlight for them to have any real growth. I usually don't plan on harvesting these until the end of February or beginning of March. Because it's getting so warm, we're already starting to see them think about heading up. So these have about another month and they'll be ready to harvest. These are kohlrabi. We've got some nice kale there, a little tiny chard that's not doing as well. These really do well over the winter and are great for my late spring harvest. So those won't be harvested till the end of February, beginning of March, but right now I'm harvesting all of the fall crops that I didn't harvest earlier. So I still have cabbage and kohlrabi. I have the collards out there and Swiss chard and kale. I also have all the stuff that I grow indoors. Now another thing that I forgot to show you is my leeks. These were planted last spring, and I decided to see how long they would hold over the winter. And I've been harvesting them since October. I decided to wait until October to harvest them to give them a little bit of cold weather so that they could sweeten up. And they are absolutely delicious and they're huge. So leeks are a great one to start in the early spring. Now I did just start a new variety of leeks that I am really excited about, and they're a perennial leek. So hopefully once those start sprouting, we'll do another video and talk a little bit about those. So that basically covers harvests for the entire year. It does take some planning, it does take the time to start the seeds, but it is definitely worth it. And I challenge you to find at least one crop that you can grow, that you can harvest throughout the year. My favorite that gives me the longest season of harvest is my cole crops. You know, I always have cabbage, I always have kohlrabi, and the carrots really do well too, if you can get them to grow. Some years I have a hard time getting carrots to grow. But I'd love to hear what crops you grow year-round, what harvest you're doing this time of year, if any, or what your favorite long season harvest crop is. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.